No, the post-mortem of a loss like we experienced on Saturday is always difficult. You look at the tape and you see things that you wish could have been better. And yet, if you look at it with the right mindset, you can also be very encouraged by it, knowing that we can be a lot better and we can be a lot better quickly. So I'm excited about going forward, leaving that game behind us in terms of its disappointment, but taking with us the lessons that were available to us, and I think we still have the makings of a darn good football team. So I'm excited about playing again here this Saturday night at the Rose Bowl. It's always a great venue, and looking forward to another chance to play on that great field. So happy to answer any questions.
Who's your quarterback? I mean, I know it'll say.
Well, we have to wait and see what Kevin's situation is. The concussion has cleared, and so I expect that not to be an issue. It really now is his shoulder, and its X-rays are negative, 0 in the way of an MRI problem. So now it's about comfort, and I know he's desperate to play. He's waited a long time to play, so I'd be, I would give him better than a 50-50 chance to be available and to play, and we'll just see how much practice he gets. If he's available and hasn't practiced much, then I would say we'd start Richard, but we'd play Kevin.
Richard had a pretty good game.
Richard played really well, and you know, as I said, he would continue to play. But so was Kevin playing well until the injury. So, you know, I don't see any reason not to keep them both in the mix if they both be healthy.
So in other words, if they were both healthy, Kevin would still start.
Both would continue to play. Yeah.
Wait, would Kevin still start? If they were both healthy?
Depends again how much practice we'll have. You know, Kevin does give us a little bit faster player quarterback, but we'll wait and see how that turns out.
Rito had 97 yards.
97 yards, he was terrific. Yeah, I was proud of Richard. Still things we can get better at, as is the case with Kevin, and you know, as the quarterback coach, you're going to be critical, and you're going to keep demanding things to improve. But there was lots that to be taken from the game that are good and positive.
Kevin's injury kind of forced your hand there, but where were you at in terms of getting Richard in the game at that point?
You know, Richard was going to play, as I told you. I hadn't made any firm decisions at that point. You know, we hadn't had the ball a lot. I think we had the ball 3 minutes and change in the first quarter. So, you know, I hadn't had enough football to be played to make the decision exactly when I was going to go to number 12. But you know, it's a situation where fortunately we had 2 guys ready.
Given Kevin's history and that Richard did play well, I mean, have you given thought to saying, well, let's just shut Kevin down this week and just to be safe?
I don't think that'd be fair to Kevin. I think Kevin's dying to get himself ready and to go. Now, if Kevin's mindset is of that, which I'd be shocked if it were, I've not talked to him today, but if Kevin's mindset were that, then that would be probably the prudent thing to do. But Kevin has waited a long time to play, and I think is going to be chomping at the bit to get back in there as quickly as it's possible. Remember when Richard had his foot sprain, or had the
Recall it.
all of a sudden 2 days later he's ready to go, just because we had competition. He wasn't going to let one get too far out in front. I think that probably will be the same situation with Kevin.
Is the situation similar at all to last year when Kevin kind of hurried back to the Cal game and then ended up being more injured than he thought?
Well, that was a knee that obviously was more damaged than we originally believed. And this is a AC sprain that has no damage with respect to the MRI. So with that being said, now it's a tolerance thing. And you know, we'll see where that is.
What are some things that you're hoping to see on the team this week in practice and Saturday?
Number one is eagerness. I saw that yesterday when we got together. The guys are dying to get back on the practice field. We'll get great spirited work throughout the week. There could be zero in the way of thinking about that we don't have a formidable opponent. We have to give San Jose State their due respect. The score was lopsided, but if you watch the tape, they played Stanford very, very tough. There were 3 times Stanford had to take 3 downs from the 1-yard line to get it in. Their defense was stout as it could be. We have to take advantage of our practice opportunities, and as I've always said, it's about us. And then defensively, we've got to play faster. We can't sit and wonder and if we're doing the right thing. We've got to play with some urgency. And I know Joe is going to work hard to get that accomplished with respect to how we come out and play on defense.
And you said yourself after the game that, I think the question was about scheduling a weaker opponent in opening game. You can't really learn about.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's pluses and minuses. First games, it's one of the reasons the NFL has preseason, right? First games are going to be some mistakes and glitches because it's the first game. You haven't been through it. People haven't been in that arena. And so if you schedule a lesser opponent in that situation, those usually aren't as glaring. When you play a formidable opponent and do it on the road, then those mistakes are going to be that much more critical, assuming that the opponent plays well, as has been the case each of the last 2 years, both at Kansas State now and Houston. And that's the downside. But we found out a great deal about ourselves, despite the fact we didn't end up with more points. We came back from a 31-14 deficit on the road and had chances to take the lead and had chances to come back and gain a really, really a great win. And so, although we didn't get it done, I think there's an encouraged group of coaches and players alike that are all excited about having a team that is capable of that. And I don't know how many times since I've been at UCLA we've scored 5 touchdowns. I know it's not very often. And 5 touchdowns and 6 tries down in the red zone, and unfortunately we were a little wide right on a field goal. Otherwise we were 6 for 6 in the red zone. So it's there's no reason to be down more than necessary. We need to be down about the fact we didn't get it done, but that can only lead to more resolve in getting it done the next time, rather than despair as to what might be. It's got to be about reaching up, reaching down, and pulling this thing together and getting ourselves a win this weekend.
Who's going to be your kicker?
We'll compete for that. Kip is still a very talented kicker. I mean, he just is. You can't watch him in practice and not come away thinking that there's a kicker inside. And we just got to keep, working with him and getting him to trust himself. Confidence is everything when you're in an individual sport. You can talk to golfers, you can talk to anybody. You have to trust that that's going to go. And while we're working with him, if he still gives us our best chance, then he'll be the kicker. If there's someone that, as we continue to work with Kip and try to get him back to being what he's capable of being, that's better and gives us a better chance, then we'll make that adjustment. But right now, we'll have to analyze that.
You think you might start going for 2 like Lano?
You can do that, but your odds go down. But we'll keep track of what's the prudent thing to do with respect to that.
Rick, how involved were you in the defensive game plan leading into Houston?
Well, I have a great deal of faith in my defensive coordinator. As I told you, I interviewed a lot of guys, and I think Joe Tracy will do a great job. This is the first game in his system, and we didn't play fast enough for it to show what it's capable of doing and what it has proven to do in the past at every other stop he's been at, as I did my analysis. We can play better, and we will, and I'm looking forward to that. I have a job as a quarterback coach. I have a job as a head coach. I'm going to be briefed on all the things we do defensively. But for me to waste my time, and I don't mean it wasting it, but for me to be over there spending a lot of time doing that is not doing what I'm supposed to be doing on the other side. You have to have faith in letting guys do the job you hired them to do, and I continue to have great faith in Joe.
Last night on the conference call, you said there were some good things that were done on the DL. What were some of those?
We had a good push. We had a great push, and I think Owamabe had a really good game. There were some, technical things that Noki wants better, and we'll get them better. Sometimes we're trying to get sacks too much because it was so many passes. We got to make sure that we stay in our lanes and don't let him out of the pocket to make first downs with his legs. We're going to see that again in the coming weeks. We've got to be disciplined enough to, when we get an opportunity to get somebody, we got to get him down. But if we don't, we got to stay in our lanes and make sure that we get to close up those run lanes that are created when you're trying to get an all-out pass rush. But in terms of pad level and coming off and a lot of guys being able to play, there were some really good things. Their running yards. There were a couple times we weren't in the right gap, but most of the time it was just because we didn't tackle real well. And ultimately that will improve, and we're going to make that a huge point of emphasis this week. We felt like we had done so in the absence of scrimmage downs, but apparently we hadn't done enough. And so that's a fundamental that has to be really honed in on so that we become a great tackling defense.
What was your opinion of the performance by the linebacker?
A little disappointing, considering that we have some experience there. I thought that both Pat and Sean, who you kind of rely on as stalwarts in those positions, were a little bit sometimes overzealous and sometimes a little bit not reading their keys. But I have enough confidence in both that they'll respond, and they'll both be terrific football players as we go forward in the season. Again, I just think that it was a little bit uncharacteristic. And again, first time in a game in this system, and it was a very fast tempo game with respect to how they got up to the line. It was a warm day. That opening drive probably sapped a lot of energy, but I'm not giving excuses. We can play linebacker better, and we will.
Rick, you talked about wanting Kip to trust himself and build his confidence and everything. If you don't go with him, though, isn't that going to defeat that purpose of trust and confidence in himself if he doesn't keep? He's going to be continued to be worked with. All right, is what I meant to say. But my job is to put the best chance, the best player at the time in the game to kick the ball. And if, as he's going, if his confidence is not at a place where he's believing in himself, and these are judgment calls, then I have to. There's someone else on the roster that I got to trust at that time. But that will not mean that I'm going to ever stop working with Kip to get him to be the best player that he can be. No, I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying for him personally.
That'll be part of a long conversation with Kip in terms of how I'm going to go forward. I want him to win the job, just like I want every player on this team to win the job. That doesn't mean I'm pulling against the other player. It means I want the best out of every player on this team. And if they can give their best and it's better than what somebody else can do, then they're going to be the one who gets the point. That's the essence of competition.
About their offense, is it similar to yours at all?
They have some pistol formation stuff, and they certainly, like a lot of teams around the country, have copied some of the things that Nevada does. And so our defense hopefully will respond to that, having seen it a lot in both spring ball and fall camp.
That make your game prep a lot easier than another week?
Easier, no. We need to be spirited this week. In terms of the mental assignments, possibly. But we want to be sharp as we can be. This is an important game for us to go out and play our best football and see if we can't get our first win of the 2011 season.
Where do you plug in a healthy Jeff Bach on the offensive line?
Well,
the key is to make sure he's healthy. Yeah, he's going to get to practice this week. We'll see how much. He's going to be rusty, not only missing spring ball and fall camp, but also all last year. So how quickly we can get him up and going is anybody's guess. But we're excited to have him practice. I know he's excited to be out there, and we'll hopefully get him going as fast as possible.
Tackle or guard? You see?
We'll wait and see, but I think probably just in terms of the first reps will be a quick tackle.
Will he return tomorrow?
He'll be in practice tomorrow, yes. And Glenn Love, I had reported yesterday, might be out for a couple of weeks. I'm going down to questionable on him. He's feeling better, and he's going to see a doctor either today or tomorrow about harnessing, and he may have still some chance to be available this week.
Any other news on any kind of new players showing up, new face showing up at practice? Maybe?
Not yet, but I'll keep you posted. Everybody good? Happy Labor Day.